morning. Okay. All right. I think you can hear me anyways without the microphone. Good morning, and thank you so much for coming here to Chelsea today to our commuter rail stop at 6th Street. My name is Roseanne Bongiovanni. I'm the Associate Executive Director of the Chelsea Collaborative, and I help organize the Chelsea side of the Chelsea Creek Action Group, which is the Chelsea Green Space and Recreation Committee in Chelsea, and residents organized through the Neighborhood of Affordable Housing in East Boston. I'll let Kim, my co-MC here, introduce herself.
Hi everyone, thanks for being here. So my name is Kim Foltz. I'm the Director of Community Building and Environment at NOAA, which organizes the East Boston side of the Chelsea Creek Action Group across the creek.
So we're really excited to be here today. As you can all imagine, each one of you have played an integral role in this campaign. Some pro, some con, and we're really excited to be here today to see that these trains going through are commuter rail trains, they're MBTA trains, and they are not ethanol trains. Huge victory for our communities. The Chelsea Creek Action Group started organizing back in 1996, and one of our first campaigns was actually with Global Oil. At the time, Global, located in Chelsea at Chelsea Sandwich on Lower Broadway, was interested in converting some of their tanks and bringing asphalt into the community. They wanted to bring asphalt into their tanks and store them in Chelsea, and at the time, residents in Chelsea were very upset and concerned about the public health implications of additional storage of hazardous chemicals like asphalt. And we worked with the state legislature at the time, we worked with Global at the time, and we were successful in our efforts to stop Global from bringing in further asphalt. And from then on, we've had a very love-hate relationship. Some days we love Global, some days we hate Global, some days Global hates us, some days they love us. And today I think we're on that love relationship where we're very pleased that Global has decided to withdraw their application. So it was interesting 16, 17 years later to be in a battle again with Global, but we're very pleased with the results of all of our community organizing. We just would like to recognize each and every single one of you and the hundreds of thousands of other people who've been involved in this campaign. We started this campaign in April of 2011, and since that time, community members from Chelsea, Revere, East Boston, Everett, Somerville, Cambridge, and even beyond, Wakefield, Melrose, Andover, Shirley, Ayr, Waltham, have all been involved in this effort to stop the trains because everybody was so deeply concerned about the public safety impacts should an ethanol train come through our community and have a massive incident or explosion. As you can see, the location that we chose today is a commuter rail stop. The trains were being proposed to use the commuter rail lines in the early morning hours from midnight to 5 a.m. You can just see the residents right here that are so close that would be impacted should a train come through, and God forbid there ever be a spill or an accident. I'd like to introduce our first speaker today. Her name is Judy Dyer. She's a Chelsea resident. She's been a lifelong Chelsea resident. She's been involved in environmental justice organizing efforts since the very beginning. She is a tireless advocate on behalf of the entire city of Chelsea. She works for anti-poverty initiatives, for children, for animals, for the environment, and for everything that's good in our community. Please help me in welcoming Judy Dyer.
First of all, I'd like to thank everybody involved in bringing this situation almost to fruition. We have one more step. We have something in the Governor Patrick has to sign in order to complete this entire, whatever you call it. I'm not used to speaking, as you can see. The main reason I'm here is that street over there is where I live. I have lived there all my life. If you walk about 60 feet down the street towards Washington Ave, that is where I live. And I am so glad that this is not going to happen, because you could hear how the trains sound now. You imagine running in the middle of the night, 85 cars long, coming into Global twice a week, and then leaving Global and going back twice a week. That would be 4 nights a week for 85 cars to pass. And I am so glad that this is not going to happen, and I don't have to listen to that at night. Thank you.
Judy, Judy, thank you so much, and thank you for being here. Judy, if you don't know, just lives around the corner, so she was one of the residents most potentially impacted by this proposal. It's at your front door, absolutely. Our next speaker really needs no introduction. His name is Sal DiDomenico, and I got to know Sal a couple years back. He was just a measly city councilor in Everett, where everybody in Everett is an elected official. And
Now he's just a measly.
the opportunity presented itself for Sal to move on to bigger and better things. And we all in Chelsea and elsewhere knew that Sal was going to move on to bigger and better things. We watched him eagerly as he built up such a following, such strong coffers, and just saw all of his fundraisers and his activities packed with supporters. A few years later, seeing Sal as a senator and as a friend, I'm so proud because he's one of these guys who's just a typical, nice, hardworking family guy who has his pulse on the community and his heart in all of the cities that he represents. He has worked tirelessly for the people of his district and beyond in this Commonwealth. I have to say that I've known a lot of senators in my day, and I have to say that Sal is the best one that I know. I hope Anthony's not here yet. But Sal is the best one that I know, and I'm glad to call him a friend and a colleague and somebody who's really a champion for the people. Please help me in introducing Senator Sal DiDomenico.
Roseanne recovered well from the beginning of losing mine. But it's great to be here. This is a great day for our communities. You know, before I begin, I just want to thank my staff and Senator Petroselli's staff, because when we first heard about this, my philosophy is I hire people who are smarter than me. And it showed in this campaign. Because my staff and Anthony's staff really stepped up and did a great job, and Anthony does well this here as well, and Ingrid Freer from my office really did yeoman's work on this. I want to thank them first and foremost. This campaign shows what a community can do. We heard all along this was a losing battle. We heard all along that this was just going to happen. Let's just try to mitigate the, public safety issues, the potential damage. And all of you didn't take that answer. All of you fought each and every day to make sure that our communities were staying safe. And the legislature heard you loud and clear. Myself, Senator Petroselli, Senator Jalen, Senator Brownsberger, Kathi-Anne Reinstein, State Representative Reinstein, State Representative Gino Flaherty, Marjorie Decker from Cambridge. We had a broad coalition who came together to make sure that your voices were heard at the State House. And I can tell you that we couldn't forget your community because you didn't let us forget. And I mean that in a positive way. Most of the time I don't mean that in a positive way because we hear that all the time. But in this circumstance, there was not a day that went by that we didn't hear from your coalition, that we didn't get emails, phone calls, requests to show up at meetings. And when all the chips are down, and of course the train's going by, that's my luck, it always happens when I speak, something happens. But when all the chips are down, I'm sure I'm not getting hit with that arm. When all the chips are down, and we all thought that we were just trying to get the best case scenario we could out of this whole situation, we kept pushing. We kept pushing. And I want to thank Global. I do, because they saw that this community did not want this coming to the neighborhood. They saw that the community was mobilized in an unprecedented way, and the legislature supported the community in their efforts. So I want to thank Global, and if Manuel was here. When we heard they were going to withdraw their application, it was something like I never experienced in the state legislature before, because what we did made an impact, and what we did was heard by the people that were trying to do this. So, and we know that Global has the means and resources to carry this out. They could have kept pushing, and they didn't. So I want to thank Manuel and Global Oil for doing the right thing that they said and making sure that community was heard. So I'm not going to say too much more, but I want to thank public understanding another trend the other way, so I'm going to finish up very quickly. But I also want to thank our local officials, because our local officials stood tall with us each and every day as well. Our city councilors, our city managers, mayors, now the rest of our speakers aren't going to have to deal with that, so I took a hit for all of you. But most of all, you know, we had all these people supporting us, but most of all, and I'm going to repeat myself again, the activists in the community did this. The legislature just carried out what you wanted us to do. But you're the reason why this happened. And you're the reason why we were successful. And you're the reason why our communities are safer because of that. So I want to thank all of you for being here today, and thank you for your amazing work. It's a great day for our communities. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So there are a lot of people to thank today on this victory, and I want to echo Senator DiDomenico's thanks to all of our elected officials, Speaker DeLeo and Senate President Murray. If it weren't for their leadership, the amendment never would have passed the Joint Ways and Means Committee. Absolutely, Senator DiDomenico and Senator Petrocelli, who will be joining us shortly, have just been leaders for the 2.5 years on this struggle, day in and day out, and we thank you so much for that. Same with Representative Carlo Basil, Representative Kathi-Anne Reinstein, and Eugenio Flaherty, and as well as our local officials, Jay Ash here in Chelsea, and Sal Lamatina in East Boston. We thank you all, and there have been many more who have joined the struggle, so thank you to all of you. There's a lot of people who often go without thanks, and so one of the people who's been really at the heart of this struggle, and we truly wouldn't be here today without, is Stacy Rubin. She's a staff attorney. Stacy's a staff attorney with Alternatives in Community Environment, which has provided legal support and strategic advice throughout this campaign, and not just this campaign. They have been here with Chelsea and East Boston and so many other environmental justice communities for years and years. So I would like to, it's with much gratitude that I introduce our next speaker, Stacy Rubin.
Thank you so much, Kim and Roseanne and Giovanna and all of the residents of Chelsea, East Boston, and Revere, who've been just the heart of this campaign for more than 2.5 years. Each of them deserves a personal thank you and recognition. And I think that this victory that we're all here to celebrate today is a victory for environmental justice. We have been swimming upstream for years and years. Residents in Chelsea, East Boston, Revere, and elsewhere throughout the Commonwealth, particularly low-income communities and communities of color, share such a disproportionate burden of public safety, public health, and environmental hazards. And we're often faced with opposition with many, many more resources than we have. And it's amazing that the power of community organizing and community lawyering can come together and achieve such a brilliant victory. So I want to join together and thank everyone for our work collectively. This has been a wonderful collaboration with our elected officials at the federal, state, and local levels. And also there's been many agencies who've been involved in this fight. So we need to recognize the Environmental Protection Agency, the Department of Environmental Protection. We're so grateful that they waited for a long time to carefully consider Global's Chapter 91 license application. We really appreciate their taking the time. The Massachusetts Department of Transportation, and so many more. So we'd like to thank all of those agencies. And today is just such a wonderful victory. We look forward to working with global partners going forward. We look forward to you being a wonderful neighbor with us. And we look forward to continued victories as we celebrate together across the Commonwealth. Thank you so very much.
We would be remiss if we didn't recognize some key folks in the community who have helped us make this campaign happen. I'd like to first recognize one of my partners in crime here, Giovanna Garcia Soto, who's an organizer with Chelsea Green Space. Giovanna is not only an amazing, energetic, intelligent person, but she's somebody who's dedicated to environmental justice, and she has spent numerous hours fighting this campaign, organizing our communities, taking time away from family and friends every single month to strategize for the last 2 years with all of our members, so many of whom are here today, to try and stop these trains because we just knew it wasn't the right proposal for our community. I'd also like to recognize Gladys Vega, our executive director, who plays a key, quiet role behind the scenes and helps support all of our organizing efforts, but also keeps her eye on all of the politicians to make sure that they're honest and true to the community and doing right by the world of social, environmental, and economic justice. So thank you, Gladys. And two folks, one of whom is here and one isn't, are key activists in Revere. One is Rita Falzerano, and the other is Ed O'Hara. Both are community residents from Revere who have poured hours and hours into talking with folks in Revere and getting them engaged, getting them to vote on a non-binding resolution to oppose the ethanol proposal, talking to residents just so they knew what was going on, and getting folks to attend meetings, participate in the Chapter 91 processes and other public hearings. So thank you again for all of your tireless efforts as well. I'm glad to recognize our state representative, Kathi-Anne Reinstein, who represents parts of Chelsea and Revere. Our illustrious representative, Eugene O'Flaherty, is traveling today and sends his regards that he can't be here, but he celebrates the victory with us. And he and Kathy have worked so well together as a team to help the community's voice be heard at the State House. Kathy and Gene wrote a letter to the conference committee just saying how strong the support is for the ethanol amendment and how important this is for our communities. I think Kathy will probably talk about this, but she has a personal relationship, I think, with this, as her husband's a firefighter, and if these trains came into our communities, God forbid her husband could have been called to the scene should an accident or explosion occur. So we're so grateful for Kathy's representation, her activism, her leadership, and that of Gino as well. And thank you, Kathy, for being here. Please help me in welcoming Representative Reinstein.
And we'll wait.
Sarah, Pastor Sally sent these trains.
Right, stall a little bit.
I guess I'll just say one thing first. The house was on time today.
Oh, let's wonder that as the train goes by. The house was on time today. We were
Early.
All right, before the other train gets here, I want to begin by thanking, and I have it written on my phone, Speaker DeLeo, because there's no way this could have gotten done without Speaker DeLeo, and he could be here this morning. And here comes the train. He understood the importance of this and the effect it had on the neighborhood, so we need to thank him. Leads the House in a manner that he charges us to always do the right thing, or to attempt to do the right thing. So I want to thank him for his vision and being really responsive, because one, he shares this area with us, but two, he had to listen to Gene and I a lot. Gene is, his father-in-law turned 80, so they had a very long-standing planned family trip, but Gene, like all of us, our work never ends. So actually, Gene and I were texting yesterday, and I told him to, now that this is done, he needs to put the phone down and go back to his family, and to stop texting everyone. But he did an incredible job. He was an incredible advocate for all of you, and it was just a great partnership for all of us. And I want to thank the DEP because it was last year when the House put in language, and then the Senate concurred with us as far as putting together a commission to study this, and with all advocates from all the neighborhoods. And that was really the start of this, and that's what got us to today. So I'm very thankful for the vision of the speaker and Jean and myself and other members of the House. We had about 30 members of the House sign a letter then and to the conference committee now. I was telling Jay earlier that when we had our Democratic caucus, when the budget was coming out, the members of the conference committee, when they announced that this was in it, said, please tell everyone they can stop calling us. And they don't even need to call us to thank us. We know that they're thankful. So you guys made a huge impact, and this is all about you today. This is about the advocacy and you know how strong you feel about your neighborhoods and the people who live in them. It's been a great week, I think, for Chelsea as far as environmental justice. We had this, and then we were breaking ground on a former contaminated site yesterday. So, and I was sharing Ed Fanuel and Global's letter with the head of the DEP that was there. And I want to thank Ed. He's been a gentleman through all of this, and I appreciate that he is putting, and Global is putting, the communities first. He came up to the State House and met with each one of us personally to tell us that this is what he was going to do, and that he wants to continue a good relationship with the community. And I thank him, and through him thank Global for that. And I know you're a person of your word, Ed, so I know that we will be working in positive ways together. I also, Adrian is here from Carlo Basil's office also. I know Carlo has his kids today, so he's not here this morning, but you know, Carlo is obviously a huge part of this too. But I just want to say thank you to all of you. Really, this is your day. Celebrate it. I will say this, you know, you guys came to the State House and Roseanne and I were talking, and she said, if this gets done, I said, if this gets done, you'll have to name your baby after me. So I can't wait to meet Kathi-Anne, like by the end of the month.
She might be here today.
Well, you're going, now that this is over, I'm like, I can't wait to meet Kathi-Anne. I know you guys can't either. And that was the first thing when I called her, and I put her on speaker. I'm like, you're naming your baby after me. This is what we discussed. You're like, if this gets done, I'll think about it. Can't wait to meet her. Congratulations, everybody.
So we've just heard that Senator Petrocelli is not going to be here, but I wanted to let Anthony Gisaldi, who works in his office, just say a word on his behalf.
Good morning. Unfortunately, the Senator could not be here this morning. He's presiding over the session in the Senate. But he wanted to send his congratulations and thanks to all of you. It was a lot of work between collaborative action between our office, Senator DiDomenico's office, Senator Jalen's office, Senator Brownsberger's office, the community groups, and in the end the help of Global as well. So it was a lot of work, a lot of hours, countless meetings. We're very happy that this got done. It started almost 2 years ago with a small amendment that commissioned a study for the DOT on the public safety of this transit. And it's come all the way to this amendment that was passed a couple weeks ago in the Senate budget that, you know, re-regulated DEP licenses, and now we've come to an agreement with Global as well. So again, congratulations to everybody, the community advocates, the senators, the representatives that helped us out. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Anthony. I'd also like to just recognize that Barbara Bishop is here from Speaker DeLeo's office. Thank you, Barbara, for being here. And again, please tell the Speaker how thankful we are for all of his leadership and his support and his activism. I'd also like to recognize Janet Curtis. She's here from Senator, tell him I said that. City Councilor LaMartina's office, and City Councilor LaMartina has been very supportive in East Boston. So thank you so much. And you, Janet, have done tons of work on behalf of all of our community, so thank you so much for that. We really appreciate it. Our next speaker, again, like Sal, really needs no introduction. You all know who he is. He's always the tallest guy in the room, but he, and for the most part, usually has the biggest voice and the biggest heart too. Jay Ash, since the very beginning of this campaign, has been a supporter of the community, a vocal advocate against the proposal to bring ethanol trains to our community. Jay was articulate and vociferous at DOT meetings and in other public forums about his deep concerns for these trains and their impact on economic development, residents, quality of life, public safety. the environment, environmental justice here in Chelsea and East Boston, Revere, and beyond. Jay cares so much about this community and cares so much about this proposal. He has been such an advocate and ally with us. I'm glad to say on this occasion that he has been a firm partner with us, and we've been working together for the last 18 years to achieve environmental justice. And Jay Ash is a model city manager who's really working hard to make sure that our community is safe for all of us each and every single day. So please help me in welcoming Jay Ash.
Thank you, everyone. Is the battery still working? Can you? Yes. Yeah, it's going to run out of battery soon. I want to congratulate everybody who is here, and through you, there's so many people that worked so hard on this. I'm going to first talk about the region. I've had hundreds of conversations. You've had hundreds of conversations. We've had collectively thousands, if not tens of thousands of conversations with people like us in other communities around the Commonwealth who had a great deal of fear about this proposal and a great deal of hope that we could come together and make a difference. The lesson that we've learned from all that is that anything is possible, and that we have achieved something that many people thought was impossible. I remember the first conversation I had with the Federal Railway Administration, talking to them about how concerned we were in this densely populated corridor for the possibilities, and the FRA said that they shared the concern, but there was nothing that could be done. And I knew something that they didn't know, that when somebody says there's nothing that can be done, that's when Roseanne Bongiovanni gets going. And if I can bring from the regional down to the local and talk about Roseanne, talk about the collaborative, talk about all of you who support the collaborative and who have done outstanding work in our community. Once again, you've made our community proud, not only because you've achieved a great deal of success here, but you've shown the rest of the Commonwealth what all of us in Chelsea know, and that's that you are a top organization that is so effective in advocating for local residents and have great care for the community. Yes, that's on. Where's the train when you need it? For those of you who don't know, Roseanne and I like to poke each other now and then, but the fact of the matter is that together we've been able to do a lot of great things. And when I say together, it's Roseanne and me and Gladys and others, and city councils like Calvin Brown who are here, and legislators like kathi-anne and Jean and Sal, and advocates in the community that just continue to make a difference. I've talked to the governor, I've talked to our congressman, I've talked to mayors from around the Commonwealth. I've actually talked to officials from outside the Commonwealth in New Hampshire who were concerned about this. I've talked to federal administrators. I've talked to community leaders in dozens of communities around the state. Everybody is celebrating today. It's a great day for Chelsea. It's a great day for the region. The lesson that we learn here is that everything is possible. And the collaboration that led to this victory can continue to repeat itself and continue to do good things in Chelsea, in this Commonwealth, and in this country. So I congratulate all of you. I'm recommitted to making a difference in our world, both from an environmental standpoint and from a people standpoint. And I know that together there is everything, and I do mean everything, that is possible. So congratulations, everyone. I'm looking forward to continuing to work with you all.
Okay, so I'm very pleased to introduce our next speaker, who is a lifelong advocate and rabble-rouser and just agent of change and vision in this community. Gail Miller has been an activist in East Boston and really accomplished so much. We all sort of stand on your shoulders in this work, and really, not only has she helped, restore the gorgeous Belle Isle Marsh and, gotten a canoe put in on the Chelsea Creek. It was Gail who first spotted this issue, the ethanol issue, in the Environmental Monitor, and brought it to the attention of myself and Roseanne and others, and really started this fight. And so, we really wanted to make sure that this fight began with Gail, and that she's here today as we announce the victory. So, Gail Miller.
Jovi.
No, I'm humbled, but I really think I couldn't do it, obviously without the thousands and the hundreds of people that always come together. But today we stand here victorious in our battle of big versus little. And the lesson we take away again today, as we have already learned in the past protecting Chelsea Creek, is that the citizenry must be ever vigilant about lurking threats to their environment and quality of life in their neighborhoods. Everyone wants to live in relative peace and thrive in a community that seeks to make continual improvements. But with that desire comes a commitment to band together with neighbors, community groups, and others that have a common goal and who will challenge those that have another agenda. Challenge those who want to run roughshod over a community in the name of extreme profits. In this case, the status quo was good enough, barging your product. We stood our ground as a billion-dollar company sought to maximize their profits rather than help to preserve the integrity of many communities in the Commonwealth. Activists here in our region acknowledge the right of commerce in using the rails, but at the same time, corporations need to make good business decisions and seek to do no harm or risking great harm to a community. Our collective efforts paid off, and in the process, when we needed to bring in our legislative delegation, they stood with us, the little people, and sought to protect us. Never for a moment should we ever think that we cannot make a difference. It begins with a single step. We applaud Global Petroleum for realizing our strength, our tenacity, although they should have realized that before, and our desire to protect our neighborhoods. We trust they will not attempt to rise up somewhere else, somewhere where they perceive folks to be weak and a little outmaneuvered. We also hope that this brings a new dawn on your future endeavors, and I want to thank our entire organizing effort for this day, especially the Chelsea Human Services Collaborative for the great skills they have in organizing all of us, and the Chelsea Creek Action Group, and of course our legislative delegation led by Senator DiDomenico and Senator Petroselli, not to mention all the others whom I'm certain have been mentioned. But most importantly, our brilliant lawyers, Stacy Rubin and Jean Benson. They simply are incredible, insightful, and tenacious, not to mention wonderfully kind. And another special thank you must go out to Ed O'Hara, who single-handedly, I believe, organized a referendum in Revere. So we stand here victorious, and we thank all of you for coming together and helping us in our struggle.
Thank you so much, Gail. Gail put a human heart and human face, as did Judy, onto this campaign, and I think that's something that we really felt for the last 2 years. Every single time we talk to folks about the trains and commuter rails, being so close, the commuter rail stops being so close to residents, everybody felt scared and concerned for their own quality of life. Judy and I had a conversation earlier today. When you live in Chelsea your entire life, you kind of take things as status quo. You stop paying attention to certain things. And every single day of my life, I don't think I ever realized the trains going by. I never heard the whistles, the horns. And then all of a sudden, the ethanol proposal came to be. And every single night that I put my son down to sleep, I heard that train horn. Every single night. And every single night, I started to think, oh God, what if? What if this goes through? How will we get out? How will he get out? How will all of the other families in Chelsea and Revere and Everett, how will they get out of our communities, out of harm's way? Now my son is almost 2, and he loves trains. And one day I said to him, Luca, listen to the choo-choo. And now every single time he hears the horn of a train, he says, Mama, choo-choo. And every single time he did that, it touched my heart and thought, oh God, please, please, please don't let these ethanol trains come through, because this will destroy our lives and that of so many other people. So I want to thank Ed Faneuil, who is our next speaker. Ed is the General Counsel of Global Oil. Ed and I have known one another for many, many, many years. It goes back to the early days of the asphalt campaigns and working on air quality and just having interesting conversations and meetings. And as I said earlier, the Chelsea Collaborative and the Chelsea Creek Action Group have a love-hate relationship with Global. Sometimes we love one another and sometimes we're at odds with one another. But what has always been the case is that we could call Global Oil and say, we don't like what you're doing. Please stop. Please withdraw your proposal. And we did that last November. We contacted Global and said, you know that we're organizing. We want to sit down and talk to you. We want to put a human face on this campaign. We want you to withdraw your proposal. We really hope that you understand the concerns that our community has. And I think that Global heard us. It took a little bit of time between November and now to get Global to withdraw their proposal, but they eventually heard the community loud and clear. They saw our community organizing efforts. They saw the impact that people can have. I think they finally understood that, you know what, this wasn't the right decision for the neighborhood. And as Ed and Richie Slifka, the Senior Vice President of Global, have said, they want to be good neighbors. They want to be supportive of our community. They don't want to go against us, and we don't want to go against them. So we've said in numerous meetings, we're not anti-business, we were just anti-ethanol trains. We want to continue to work with Global as they bring ethanol via barge into the community. We want to work with them on air quality and other concerns that we may have, but we have an open dialogue, and we're prepared to put the past behind us and work with Global Oil. And Ed, I'd like you to come up and say some words just in case you need some help with your remarks. I created a little prompt for you. If you want to just wave that flag.
No. I'll be brief because I'm afraid the trains are going to come in. But we've been a member of your communities, plural, for a long time. And we look forward to remaining a member of your communities for a long time. I know many of the people around this audience for more than 2 decades. And I think I recognize the efforts of the community in their desire to have us withdraw the application before I think Kathy was even back in her chair or Sal was back in his seat. We had formally withdrawn, but typical of Global, I had actually gone up to the State House to speak to them in person to give them our commitment that we were withdrawing our ethanol by rail transportation proposal. Gail Miller I've known for a long time, and I could recognize around, whether it's Sal, Anthony Petroselli, the Chelsea Collaborative, Jay, members of the Chelsea community. We have businesses in each of those communities. What I've heard most importantly today is we are a community. We're proud to be a member of your community. We've tried to always reach out and be actively engaged. I think Roseanne said it best. We may not always agree, but we're always accessible to talk. And I think that, yes, it may have taken a little bit longer and one more child through gestation, but we recognize and have heard the community, and we look forward, as Gail said, we'll go forward. It's the past. We will go forward together and work with one another, and you'll be good neighbors, and we'll be good neighbors, and we're going to try our best. But thank you all. And Stacy.
All right, so we're going to draw things to a close here. But, you know, this is, as I think we've heard over the course of this morning, this has taken a lot of people. There have been a lot of different parts of the story. And, you know, this is one highlight along, you know, many years of struggle to transform the Chelsea Creek and transform our communities. And it's many years of collaboration with ACE, between NOAA and the Chelsea Collaborative and the Chelsea Creek Action Group. And really, when you look back over these many years, there's such a tremendous transformation that's happened. We've removed oil tanks at the Hess site. We completed a huge restoration project at Mill Creek. There was the asphalt plant that we stopped and the diesel power plant right next to elementary schools here in Chelsea, and creating the Condor Street Urban Wild in East Boston. We've also helped pave the way for a $1.6 million wetland restoration on the East Boston Chelsea Creek. And all of that would not have been possible without this tremendous hard work of many people and the collaboration and the support of our elected officials. But we know our work is not done. And one of our members, John Walkie, who couldn't be here today, just emailed us all last night, and he said, you know, this isn't the end of the story. Not the end of the story on the ethanol campaign. We still have to get this amendment passed, signed by the governor. Quicker for us. So it's not the end of the story with ethanol, we know that. It's not the end of the story with global oil. We have a long relationship and we look forward to continuing that relationship with global oil. And it's not the end of the story for the Chelsea Creek. Quite a few years ago, NOAA and the Chelsea Collaborative, along with the Urban Ecology Institute and the EPA, put together a vision for the Chelsea Creek. And there's many elements of that vision, that plan, that really guide our work today. A piece of that, for example, is a rail trail running along the abandoned rail spur that Global, until earlier this week, was planning to reactivate. And so, Mr. Faniel, we do look forward to building on this relationship with you and, you know, sitting down and talking about making this kind of vision a reality, whether it's converting the abandoned rail into a rail trail and really making, you know, that kind of transformative change in the community, or whether it's something else. But I think what the, you know, more than a decade of collaboration and advocacy on the Chelsea Creek has shown is that we can all together really accomplish a tremendous amount. So thank you all for being here today, and I look forward to the next chapter in this story.
So that concludes our program today. I said I was on a tight deadline and I wanted to win this campaign before the baby's born, so if somebody could kindly take me to the hospital now. We wish you all a wonderful 4th and thank you all for coming out here today, and si se puede! Yeah.